Step inside FactFinesse, where knowledge awaits you at every turn. Welcome to FactFinesse's exploration of the Golden State Killer case. Prepare to dive into one of the most chilling criminal investigations in American history. In the 1970s and 1980s, California was gripped by fear as a prolific and elusive predator prowled its neighborhoods, leaving a trail of brutal violence and unspeakable terror in his wake. Dubbed the Golden State Killer, this shadowy figure, also known as the East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker, struck fear into the hearts of Californians with his brazen and sadistic attacks. The Golden State Killer's reign of terror began in the Sacramento area in 1976, where he embarked on a spree of burglaries, rapes, and ultimately, murders. His modus operandi was chillingly methodical. He would stalk his victims for days or even weeks, meticulously planning his attacks and often targeting suburban homes. Armed with a flashlight and a ski mask to conceal his identity, he would break into his victims' homes in the dead of night, striking with sudden and terrifying violence. One of the most notorious cases associated with the Golden State Killer is the brutal murder of Brian and Katie Maggiore in Rancho Cordova, California, on February 2, 1978. Brian and Katie Maggiore were a young couple out for an evening walk with their dog when they encountered the Golden State Killer prowling the neighborhood. Sensing danger, the couple attempted to flee, but the assailant chased him down and gunned him down in cold blood. The senseless and brutal nature of the attack shocked the community and marked a turning point in the Golden State Killer's reign of terror. The murder of the Maggiores was particularly significant because it was the first known homicide directly linked to the Golden State Killer. Prior to this incident, the perpetrator had primarily targeted single women in their homes, committing burglaries and sexual assaults. The Golden State Killer's crimes quickly escalated in severity and brutality. He would bind and gag his victims, subjecting them to hours of physical and psychological torture before vanishing into the night, leaving behind a shattered community and traumatized survivors. Despite extensive efforts by law enforcement to apprehend the perpetrator, the Golden State Killer remained one step ahead, taunting investigators with his ability to evade capture and strike with impunity. For over 4 decades, the Golden State Killer eluded justice, his identity shrouded in mystery and speculation. The case remained one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries in American criminal history, haunting the memories of those who lived through the era of his reign of terror. It wasn't until April 2018 that a breakthrough in the Golden State Killer case came through the innovative use of DNA analysis techniques, specifically a method known as genetic genealogy. Genetic genealogy involves using DNA samples collected from crime scenes to create profiles of unknown suspects and then comparing these profiles to public DNA databases, such as those offered by commercial genetic testing companies like Ancestry DNA and 23andMe. In the case of the Golden State Killer, investigators collected DNA samples from crime scenes where the perpetrator had left behind biological evidence, such as semen or blood. These samples were then analyzed using forensic DNA testing methods to generate genetic profiles of the unknown suspect. Next, investigators turned to genetic genealogy to identify potential suspects by searching public DNA databases for matches to the crime scene DNA profiles. By identifying relatives of the suspect within these databases, investigators were able to construct family trees and trace their ancestry back to potential suspects. Using this method, investigators were able to narrow down their list of potential suspects and eventually identify Joseph James DeAngelo as a likely match to the DNA evidence collected from the Golden State Killer's crime scenes. He was arrested on April 24, 2018. Given the high-profile nature of the case and the extensive evidence involved, the trial of Joseph James DeAngelo spanned several weeks or even months. Ultimately, the trial culminated in a verdict, with DeAngelo being found guilty on multiple counts of murder, rape, and other crimes. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, bringing closure to the victims and their families after decades of uncertainty and fear. He is serving multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole at the California State Prison in Sacramento, California. Through the dedication of law enforcement, the bravery of survivors, and the unwavering support of the community, justice has been served. Thank you for joining us on this journey with FactFinesse. Until next time.